Hi everyone, my name is Sherry Neely and I'm a graduate student at Lenore-Rhine University. This presentation is a leadership profile on the life of Penny Chenery. If I simply say the name Penny Chenery, you may not recognize it unless you're a horse racing fan. But if I say the name Secretariat, you probably will remember the incredible racehorse who made history by winning the Triple Crown in 1973 at the Belmont Stakes. It was a horse race no one will soon forget, as the horse affectionately known as Big Red set a new world speed record that still has not been broken. But what's more, Secretariat's win at the Belmont Stakes exceeded anyone's wildest imagination when he finished first by a jaw-dropping 31 lengths, as you can see here in this photo. The adjective remarkable only brushes the surface in describing such an amazing racehorse. Yet equally remarkable is the woman behind the horse, Penny Chenery, who overcame many obstacles of her own to finish her race to the finish line. She is truly much more than just a woman behind the horse. She is herself a champion. This presentation is based on research and on the movie Secretariat. This now famous photo of Penny Chenery was taken as Secretariat crossed the finish line. It depicts her joy and her victory celebration, but it also captures the essence of her character. Miss Chenery is a free spirit, unafraid to buck the norms in the male-dominated sport of horse racing, or for that matter, in the male-dominated era of the mid-20th century. She's independent, she's strong, she's a shrewd businesswoman, and she blazed the trail for women to step up to leadership roles in business. Born in 1922, Miss Chenery was the youngest of 3 children raised on a horse breeding farm in Doswell, Virginia called The Meadow. She was very close to her father throughout her life. He was not only her role model, but he encouraged her to challenge herself, and he paid her way to college at a time when very few women attended college. This scene from the movie Secretariat depicts Penny as a child, receiving the advice from her father that she bases much of her life's decisions on. Let's watch.
Don't let them fool you, darling. It's not whether they think we won. It's whether we think we won. You run your race, Penny.
Miss Chenery earned a Bachelor of Arts from Smith College in the early 1940s and then went on to study at the Graduate School of Business Administration at Columbia. That's where she met and married John Tweedy, a lawyer, in 1949. The cultural setting and the traditional gender views of the mid-20th century created quite an obstacle course for Miss Penny Chenery. After she married, she spent the next 19 years raising 4 children, but she was always dissatisfied with her life as a housewife. When her father was diagnosed with dementia in 1968, Miss Chenery suddenly found herself able to utilize her business education to save the family farm. Suddenly, she found herself holding the reins to a multi-million-dollar estate when she stepped into her father's shoes as leader and decision-maker, and she began living dual lives, one as a housewife and a mother in Denver, Colorado, and the other in Virginia, in charge of the family business. Although she had been raised on a horse farm, Miss Chenery had little or no experience in the male-dominated racing industry prior to the time she took over the daily operations of the Meadow. Women were expected to be housewives, not leaders, yet Miss Chenery did not let her gender role hold her back from making bold moves right from the start. One of the first decisions that she makes after taking over the business is to fire the trainer, Mr. Jansen. She suspected he had been taking advantage of her father's dementia for personal gain by selling some of the horses for a fraction of their value. During the confrontation, Mr. Jansen referred to her as Missy, and she quickly admonished him for using this term, ordered him to get off the property, and threatened a lawsuit. In her next breath, she asked where to find Bull Hancock, her father's longtime friend and attorney. When she learned he was dining at a gentleman's only club, she did not wait for a more convenient time to approach him, simply because she's a woman. She confidently marches into the gentleman's club to discuss business with Mr. Hancock. After telling him that she's not willing to sell the farm, Mr. Hancock tells her that the farm's going to need a strong hand, but then he adds that the hand that threw out Mr. Jansen looks pretty strong to him. When he recommends a trainer, Lucian Lauren, Miss Chenery locates him on a gentleman's only driving range to deliver her proposition. Her boldness and her strength of character allows her to establish herself as a leader and capture the attention of her business associates. A pivotal moment in her career came after the death of her father, when the estate was burdened with a $6 million inheritance tax, and that debt threatened to destroy the family business. Miss Chenery's insight and her determination stirred her to take a stand against her family, refusing to sell the farm and the horses to pay the taxes. She believes that Secretariat is something special, but if she's wrong, she places her entire family in jeopardy. She comes up with a creative solution, but the risk is that she has to guarantee that Secretariat will win the Triple Crown, and this is something that hasn't been done in about 25 years. Here's what she says in her personal moment of truth. "We'll win if we can, and live with it if we can't, but you never know how far you can go unless you run. You have to run your race. I don't care how many times they say it can't be done. I will not live the rest of my life in regret, and no matter what happens, we are going to live rejoicing every day." Miss Chenery, along with the help of Bull Hancock's son Seth, put together a breeding syndication for Secretariat even before his big win. She used her powers of persuasion to convince investors to purchase shares at $190,000 each for breeding rights, and this was just an unprecedented dollar figure. She planned to sell 32 shares in all to help pay the estate tax on the farm. She had a lot of trouble convincing anyone to buy into the venture at first, until she finally convinced Ogden Phipps, a well-respected fellow horse breeder and longtime business associate of her father's, to invest. Phipps was a hard sell, and he even offered to buy Secretariat for up to $8 million, but Miss Chenery refused, convinced that Secretariat would be worth more than 5 times this figure after a few more races. After Phipps invested, other breeders followed suit in the record-breaking stud package, and the financial future of the farm was finally secured. Penny Chenery's determination and fiery spirit led her to become the first woman in racing history to own a Triple Crown winner. She was 51 years old at the time that Secretariat won the Triple Crown. She embodies the definition of trait leadership, possessing a natural charisma and a gift for inspiring others. She's got a superior work ethic, keen insight, and the ability to network to successfully meet and surpass objectives. She's smart and she's business savvy, yet she's approachable and she's compassionate. She has superb social judgment and communication skills, which she uses to her advantage as often as she can, especially in press conferences where she typically wins every head-to-head debate against her competitors. Penny Chenery's positive leadership is a transformational leadership style, and it would make her a success in nearly any situation among any followers. Her ability to inspire, encourage, and motivate others follows her wherever she goes. Her drive, determination, and her willingness to roll up her sleeves to work alongside her teammates to achieve goals elevates the way they perceive her, and it stimulates their desire to follow her. She has a knack for challenging others to continually strive for greater excellence. Undaunted by gender bias, Miss Chenery seeks the opinions of experts, but she makes up her own mind. She believes in herself, and she trusts her instincts. She fights fearlessly on behalf of her team, carefully identifying obstacles and searching for solutions. Her approach to problem solving stems from her competitive spirit and her deep-seated desire for personal achievement, which she learned from her father. She's driven to run the race and reach her full potential so that she'll never look back on her life with regret for failing to try. Her example has opened doors for women in horse racing, and it's also set an example for women entering the workforce in any field. Like anyone, Penny Chenery has her weaknesses. She struggled to balance family and career. And although it's not depicted in the Disney movie Secretariat, her marriage to John Tweedy ended in divorce the year following the Triple Crown win. She later remarried to Lennart Ringquist, but after 5 years it also ended in divorce. She has a quick temper and can be perceived as somewhat stubborn. She's an ethical leader, and she does not tolerate dishonesty, cheating, or any half-hearted efforts from those on her team. If the common goal to win is not enough motivation, Miss Chenery will add a little motivation of her own, sometimes in the form of sharp words. But overall, her ability to motivate her team and her persistence for excellence are the driving forces behind the team's success. In the 32 years since Secretariat's Triple Crown win, Miss Chenery has been widely recognized as racing's goodwill ambassador throughout the world. She became extremely active in thoroughbred causes, serving as president of the Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association and the Grayson Foundation for Equine Research. She was elected to membership in the Jockey Club in 1983, and she was the driving force in the formation of the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. This photo is somewhat reminiscent of her pose as Secretariat crossed the finish line with her arms outstretched, embracing the moment. It also characterizes how she approaches life, arms open wide, taking it all in. She gives this advice to today's racing stars: sign every autograph, give every interview, participate, and show people just how great thoroughbred racing is, and preserve it for all of us. I've loved doing this for 30-some years, and I'm still loving it. Penny Chenery was also honored with the 2005 Eclipse Award of Merit. Eclipse Awards are bestowed upon horses and individuals whose outstanding achievements have earned them the title of champion in their respective categories, and members of the media also for outstanding courage of thoroughbred racing. Miss Chenery's example of boldness and leadership, especially in the male-dominated business world of the mid-20th century, serves as a model to all female leaders. In spite of the fact that women earn well over half of all the bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in 2013, they remain sadly underrepresented in American leadership ranks. Although women are equally effective, motivated, and committed in leadership roles, it's possible that they may be less likely to negotiate or self-promote than men. Penny Chenery refuses to be disrespected or devalued based on gender. I believe she would tell women in leadership, "You have to run your race or you'll never know how far you can go." And then she would encourage them to boldly run that race into the 21st century and beyond. A new movie is soon to be released about Miss Chenery's life called Penny in Red, and I'd like to end this presentation with a short clip from the trailer, which I believe captures the essence of her spirit.
People come up to me and say, "Oh, you're so strong, you're such a role model." You know, nonsense. I was just having a grand time, and I didn't want people to get in my way.